Death is something we all will eventually face, yet it creates a fear that touches lives in unanticipated ways. Studies show that this fear can make people more likely to act out aggressively or struggle with grief for a longer time after losing a loved one. Why is death so scary then? This video looks at the mind, body, and culture behind this universal fear, showing how and why some people feel it more than others and how it can be changed. Death ends all life, but the fear of it begins long before that day. Humans are unique because they understand that death is inevitable, and that awareness brings a mix of emotions and reactions. Studies have revealed that fear of death influences our daily choices, relationships, and even our minds. Our natural instincts keep us safe, and the knowledge of death complicates things. Cultural beliefs and personal experiences also influence how fear of death affects us. This mix of factors is why death has such a powerful impact on us. Fear of death begins with the wish to live. Evolution rewards individuals who stay away from dangers like predators or falling rocks. When in danger, a small part of your brain called the amygdala kicks into high gear. It's an internal alarm system that releases adrenaline and stress hormones into your system to prepare you to fight or take flight for your life. That worked great for our early human ancestors, leaving us with an inherited alarm system. Now, that same system activates when people think about death, even when there is no real danger. It's a biological flashback from the past. Unlike animals, humans are aware that their lives will eventually end. A dog never considers dying, but human beings do. The knowledge complicates survival and results in a deep anxiety about living. Studies connect this fear to deeper anxieties, showing how our biology prepares us for a lifelong struggle with the idea of death. Uncertainty is at the heart of our fear of death. Nobody ever really knows what happens after the heart stops. Does consciousness cease, or does something begin? The human mind doesn't like a mystery. It needs answers and reassurance. But death? It provides neither. Psychologists refer to this fear of the unknown, and it's one of the biggest reasons death is so frightening. It is the one question no one has ever come back to answer. Studies indicate that people feel more anxious when they don't have clear answers about what happens after death. The mind seeks to devise explanations, and the worst-case situations are imagined. For some, nothingness following death is intimidating. For others, it's fear of agony or judgment. Whatever it may be, the unknown surrounding death is a terrifying mystery. Death doesn't just take life, it takes everything connected to it. Humans create families, pursue aspirations, and establish legacies to feel significant. Death breaks those bonds. Losing loved ones, memories, or even a sense of self is what creates so much fear. The fear isn't just about dying, it's about no longer being part of the world they know. The idea of losing yourself is unsettling. The mind holds memories, habits, and a sense of me, all of which disappear at death. People do not want to be forgotten, perhaps through children, their art, or acts of kindness. When death takes that away, people question what truly matters in life. That fear lingers. Culture plays a significant role in shaping how people think about death. In some societies, talking about death is off limits. Film and television often depict it as dark and terrifying, filled with ghosts and shadows. These images stay with people, linking death to fear from an early age. Other cultures take a different approach, celebrating the dead and viewing death as a transition rather than an end. These variations highlight how the environment can significantly influence the level of fear we associate with death. Religion offers another perspective. Believing in an afterlife can bring comfort and hope. For instance, in Christianity, the belief in resurrection and eternal life can alleviate the fear of death. Studies have shown that religious individuals, and even atheists, are less afraid of death. They either trust an afterlife or focus on making the most of life. But for the uncertain, doubt can make fear even stronger. Culture and religion don't eliminate fear, they shape it. Health is important too. Fit people usually worry less about dying. Their bodies feel strong, making them think about death less. But those with long-term illnesses always remember how fragile life can be, which can increase their fear. For instance, individuals with chronic illnesses may constantly be reminded of their mortality, leading to a heightened fear of death. On the other hand, those who are physically fit and healthy may feel more invincible and less fearful of death. Risk exposure also changes fear. One study of skydivers is a classic example. Beginners with one jump were terrified of dying. Middle-level jumpers, with 90 jumps on average, relaxed more and felt more confident. But masters, with over 700 jumps, were more fearful than the middle level. They'd had close calls and knew luck could run out. This pattern suggests that experience can reduce fear until reality makes the danger feel personal. Other professions demonstrate this. Funeral directors who've worked with numerous services say they're less afraid. Physicians with decades of experience working with patients dying say the same. Familiarity can make death feel normal, but too much risk, as the expert skydivers discovered, can flip the switch back. There's a thin line between being used to death and fearing it again. The way we relate to others impacts the way we approach death. Healthy, trusting relationships make people less afraid of death, but those who are isolated or fearful struggle more. Why? Because death isn't just about us, it's about losing the people we love. Studies have indicated that people with close, caring relationships, e.g. healthy marriages or good friendships, feel reassured that they are not alone. Love and attachment make life worth living, and death is not as frightening as life is worth living. For some, the fear of dying becomes overwhelming. It fills their mind, interrupts their normal routines, and even leads to panic or anxiety attacks. This fear, often called the fear of death, usually gets worse after losing a loved one because the grief doesn't fade. But there is hope. Death can be made less terrifying. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, makes us think differently about death. It makes us face our fears by getting us to talk about it with a therapist, watching films about death, or even mapping out our farewell. Over time, death becomes less of a terrifying monster and more just a natural part of life. For most people, death is more than just the end. It's the fear of not knowing what happens next. The Bible speaks of 3 types of death: biological, when the body dies; spiritual, separation from God through sin; and eternal, where those who do not turn to God will be judged. This makes death about more than just the end of life. It connects it to justice and accountability. Death entered the world, says the Bible, through sin, beginning with Adam's decision. So the fear of dying isn't just about disappearing, it's about facing judgment. But to Christians, faith transforms this fear. Death is no longer just the end, but a transition into peace. Even without religion, death anxiety can be reduced by something just as powerful: meaning. Studies indicate that individuals with a strong sense of purpose through religion, relationships, or personal goals are less afraid to die. Psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, wrote that individuals with a strong why in life can survive almost anything. When life is meaningful, death is less intimidating. Meaning isn't just about being a good person, it's about leaving something behind. Teaching, serving, and creating things that outlast us give life purpose. Studies show that older individuals who mentor younger generations feel less fear of death because they know they've made a lasting impact. When life is lived with purpose, death is less of an end and more of a natural step forward. The closer we are to death, the more overwhelming it feels. Research indicates that those who are exposed to death regularly, such as funeral workers and physicians, tend to fear it less because they talk about it often. When people face death, whether by reading about it, caring for the dying, or even trying virtual reality versions of near-death experiences, it starts to feel less unfamiliar and frightening. Those who have confronted death and survived are likely to return with less fear. They've come face to face with the unknown and made it back, so it feels a little less mysterious. No one should seek out such experiences, but the message is clear. Thinking about death can make it feel less strange. Modern life hides death from us. Hospitals, morgues, and medical technology make it seem like death only happens somewhere else. This may comfort us, but it may also enhance our fear. We act as if death isn't part of our world, but deep down, we know it is. Societies that embrace death, such as Mexico's Day of the Dead, are less afraid. They do not hide death as a secret. They honor life with it. Death is something that everyone fears, but knowledge of it can enable us to live with more courage, meaning, and freedom. What do you think causes your fear of death? Leave a comment below. Share your thoughts or experience. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe for more. Let's keep going and explore life's difficult questions together.